This is the SEC on ESPN from the loveliest village on the plains at Jordan-Hare Stadium, one of the truly great venues in all of college football. The Auburn Tigers and the Mercer Bears, perhaps today a glimpse into the future. With a new starting quarterback, the Auburn Tigers have taken the field. They need 2 wins in their final 2 games to become bowl eligible. Thanks for being with us on an unseasonably warm late November afternoon. Alongside Charles Arbuckle, I'm Richard Cross. Glad to have you along for the ride. Auburn hosting Mercer, a good Mercer football team coming in 9-1 and ranked in the top 10 of the FCS.
If you look at this team, they are built at the line of scrimmage, and that's what they have to do in order to beat a SEC team. This Mercer team is really, really good.
Said just a moment ago, perhaps a glimpse into the future for Auburn. Ashton Daniels not going to play today. He's got 1 game left to maintain his red shirt. He will play in the Iron Bowl next week, and so today it's the freshman from Lucedale, Mississippi, Deuce Knight.
This young man, they have been waiting to see him play. Such a talented young guy. 87 touchdowns he was responsible for in high school. You get a glimpse of him today.
The quarterback we're going to see on the other side of the field, what a year it's been for another true freshman, Braden Atkinson out of Rollsville, North Carolina. He became the starter in week 3. He's thrown for more yards than any Division I quarterback, FCS, FBS combined.
He has just been outstanding. The minute they put him in the lineup after the Presbyterian game, he has just played lights out and really has a feel for this offense. They run the football effectively, which allows him to make plays. And Richard, when he's on the run, he can really throw strikes.
May not have every seat full today, but a good crowd in the 21st consecutive sellout, the longest stretch in school history for the Auburn Tigers. There are a lot of people here at Jordan-Hare Stadium for a 1 o'clock kickoff on the penultimate Saturday of the regular season. Next week, it's the Iron Bowl. Today, it's Mercer and Auburn. Deuce Knight and the Auburn offense will start from their own 25-yard line. Auburn coming in 4-6 on the year. Mercer, a 9-1 record. They have already clinched for the 2nd consecutive year the Southern Conference Championship. And there is number 9, Deuce Knight. Played at George County High School, short stint at Lipscomb Academy. He's only played in 1 other game this year.
And when you watched him against Ball State, he didn't have the success that he wanted, but he got a chance to get live reps. Let's see how it translates to today.
Jeremiah Cobb in the backfield off the right hip of Deuce Knight. He is 96 yards short of 1,000 for the season. Knight nowhere to go with the football, and so he takes off. And this is part of his game. He can hurt you with his legs. To the 30, to the 20. They won't catch him. 1 play, 75 yards, touchdown, Deuce Knight.
When you had 31 rushing touchdowns in high school, you got to guard against this guy. You knew they would spy him, but in that particular instance, Deuce Knight saw the opening, and he took it.
Welcome to the show, kid.
So what you have here is good protection. The offensive line does a nice job. You see them spying, but the spy can't get there, and then Deuce Knight takes off. One guy to beat, he beats Julian Fox. You're going to see that, but you got to make sure you get there. And then the last effort by Caleb Hutchinson, Deuce Knight says, oh, I'm going home for 6.
Alex McPherson with the extra point. Auburn, 15 seconds off the clock. And a 7-point lead to start the ball game. What a start for Deuce Knight, making his debut as a starter for Auburn.
What you have to do is when you have a team like Mercer who has very talented players, they don't have the same guys. They don't have guys in the trenches like you do. You've got to get off to a fast start. That was the one thing DJ Durkin and Derek Nix talked about, being fast starting against a team that they know has a lot of talent.
Saw Deuce's family there. They've seen that a time or two before. That is the fastest touchdown to start a game for Auburn since the Iron Bowl in 2003. A house call for Cadillac Williams.
Number 7 for Mercer is now number 75.
You got a talented individual like that. You want to keep him involved. And they said he's just been working, understanding the offense, really learning how to play it. And he showed you right there, hey, big plays come when I want them to.
So now it will be Mercer's turn offensively. Braden Smith is the deepest return man. He's going to watch this one fly over his head about 7 yards deep in the end zone. And now it is the turn for the SoCon champions. A 9-game winning streak. They've won 5 in a row away from home. Both of those school records. And the freshman quarterback that we talked about just a moment ago, Braden Atkinson, has led the way.
They had a no contest against UC Davis August 23rd, and ever since then, in the Presbyterian loss, they've been on the tear. They struggled against Furman. They were down 13-0, but this young man has really protected the football. Offensive line has only allowed 2 sacks on the season. That's
a staggering number. Just 2 sacks. Another staggering number for Atkinson. The touchdown to interception ratio better than 6-1 for the true freshman. He goes to the air and completes the pass on first down. That's Ajante Dabbs, one of the wide receivers, a redshirt sophomore from Greenville, Tennessee.
He's going to have to be careful, Atkinson, on some of those outs from one hash to the other. He can't do some of the things I've seen him do against FCS teams, and you know this defense is looking for some of that.
There's a lot of speed on this Auburn defense. This time it's on the ground, and that's a gain of about 3. We'll bring up a 3rd down for Mercer.
They want to be in 3rd and short, Richard. 3rd and 1, 2, or less, right at 3, because if you get too far behind, Keldrick Falk is a name you'll hear. Xavier Atkins, Kieran Crawford, guys that'll get after you in the pass game. They'll come after you hard.
C.J. Miller had the carry there. He's averaging almost 6 per carry this season. First 3rd down of the game. It's 3rd and 3 for Mercer. Adonis McDaniel, the motion man. A shot down the field, one-on-one. That's a big play for the Bears. Stepping out of bounds at the 32-yard line, Braden Smith hauls it in. They got one-on-one on the outside and converted.
They are not afraid to take shots. And Braden Smith is a guy that you'll look for. 11.5 yards per catch this year. Look at him. Just make the move on the outside, and you have the defensive back running and trying to chase him. Caleb Harris had no chance. Fortunately for him, the boundary safety, he goes out of bounds. Look at this catch and throw. If he could just stay there, right there, he goes out. Wow. I'm telling you, Mercer, when you watch him on tape, man, they are not afraid. Their offensive line is pretty doggone good.
Now going toward the Auburn students section, Atkinson lofts this one down the field, and maybe a little off mark there. Kayan Lee in coverage trying to get it to Adonis McDaniel. It was over his outside shoulder. He was looking to the inside.
Yeah, this is one where you have to get rid of the football because you have that pressure coming from the outside. Atkinson will stand in the pocket and in the face of adversity and throw the football. You'll see that today. This Auburn team will get after him. They can rush the passer, 26 sacks on the year.
C.J. Miller on the carry. They'll pick up 4 there and bring up a 3rd down and 6. Xavier Atkins, the weak side linebacker, with the tackle.
Yeah, I like how number 17 Atkins plays. He just, even when you ask DJ Durkin about him, he was like, man, he just plays hard. It's motor. And the first thing that pops on tape, when you watch him, it's like, that dude is everywhere.
Might this be 2-down territory for Mercer? Thinking perhaps 2 plays to pick up the 6 yards. Might get an indication with the play call here on 3rd down. Ajante Dabbs motioned into the backfield. The throw is out to the far side. That's a catch and a run after the catch. Inside the 10 to the 5 and run out of bounds just short of the goal line. A 3rd down conversion. They're 2nd on this opening drive.
And a nice throw where you get a guy in position to make a play. Dabbs, 20.1 yards per catch. And watch this. Everything picked up front, I told you. And then get the ball out where he can make a play. You make one guy miss. This Mercer team is not coming here to just say, hey, we're here to just show up and get a paycheck. They're here to play.
Broke the tackle of Rayshawn Pleasant. Gains of 36 and 25 through the air on this opening drive. Full house backfield, and that is Miller pounding his way close to the goal line. He's going to be stopped inside the 1.
It was interesting talking to Anthony Soto, and he talked about this offensive line. Brian Folkers, the O-line coach, he was a D2 All-American, played a little bit in the league. This is what you have to have against an SEC team like Auburn. I know Auburn hadn't played well, but Auburn has not, they have had, their defense has been what I look at every single week to see where they are in the standings because they do such a good job.
All 11 for Auburn within about 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. They shift in the backfield. The handoff is to Miller once again. This time he carries his momentum across the goal line. Where's the signal? There it is, touchdown. Mercer with the answer on their first offensive possession.
Hey man, that's what when you come here to play someone else, you want to quiet the crowd. And Mercer did that with a couple of big plays. C.J. Miller, a key person for him. And look at this offensive line. Look at that push right there. Look at those guys on the interior. You don't see any penetration from blue jerseys until he's in the end zone. Really nice job right there.
And what an answer after the fireworks from Deuce Knight on the opening play of the game. An 8-play, 75-yard drive, 3 minutes, 53 seconds. The extra point from Reese Griffith is good. We are tied at 7. It's the SEC and the SoCon on this Saturday on the Plains. Mike Jacobs said his team was excited about the opportunity today. Second season it is as the head coach at Mercer. Prior to that, had a run at Division II Notre Dame in Ohio, and then Lenore Ryan. You see fourth in the FCS, averaging nearly 42 points per game. That 521 yards per game. That is tops in FCS football.
Yeah, they have a lot of weapons on offense, and they use them, and that's the thing that Braden Atkinson, he will get the ball to the open guy and give him a chance to make plays once he catches the football.
Rayshawn Pleasant is the deep man. A significant wind toward the north end zone. So out of the south, Pleasant and his teammate collide there. It's Pleasant that picks it up, trying to find some space. He'll get out across the 25 to the 27, maybe the 28-yard line for the second offensive possession today for Auburn.
Pleasant is one of those guys that can go a long way. He had a 98-yard touchdown versus Baylor earlier in the year.
See DJ Durkin there on the sideline for Auburn, having a conversation with Pleasant on the return man. He is the interim head coach and also the defensive coordinator for the Tigers. He's all business, but I did see right before the team ran out on the field, as they were emerging from the tunnel, a little smile that creeped across his face, getting this opportunity as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers.
You know, Richard, if you think about this Auburn team, they've done pretty well on defense. It really hadn't been the defensive side of the ball for them.
Right.
It's offense that they needed to have some explosive plays.
On the ground on back-to-back plays, Jeremiah Cobb. Cobb averaging almost 6 yards per carry. He's got only 4 rushing touchdowns. A third down coming here, third and a couple for Auburn.
They're going to run more tempo today. They're going to do some things to really try to be explosive with this young man, Deuce Knight. We already saw him in the first drive, one play, home run play. But this is the one thing they've had issues with, third down conversions.
Auburn coming off an open date. Their last game was against Vanderbilt. Lost that one 45-38. There's a tackle in the backfield, blowing that play up. Isaac Prince.
He has been making plays the last few weeks. Julian Fox and Drew Clare are the key guys. But watch 46. They'll A-dog run blitz right here. Watch 46 just come into the picture. Doesn't have anybody blocking him because that deuce or that double team couldn't get to him. And he makes a disruptive TFL.
That was Justin Jones on the carry, dropped for a 4-yard loss. And so on fourth down, Auburn sends out the punt team. Here's Hudson Cock, averaging 42 per punt this season. This is a short one that's going to go out of bounds. We'll see exactly where they will mark it. Should be around the 30-yard line. 7 apiece with 9:07 remaining in the opening quarter. Mercer and Auburn tied at 7. 9 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Mercer comes in ranked 6th in the country in the FCS. They have won their second consecutive SoCon championship. First team since Appalachian State to do that. They did it back in 2008, 2009. Mercer dropped what was officially their opening game of the year, 15-10 to Presbyterian. You mentioned that no contest against UC Davis because of weather issues, persistent lightning, heavy rain, so it was declared a no contest. But since the loss to Presbyterian, 9 straight wins, coinciding with Braden Atkinson being inserted as the starter.
Well, and Mike Jacobs talked about it. He said, hey, everybody really battled that week where we had to come back together as a team, and they found out who really wanted to play.
C.J. Miller finding some room in the middle of that Auburn defense, picks his way out across the 35-yard line, a gain of 6. Caleb Harris on the tackle.
The thing that impressed me, Richard, I don't know about you, they said we're going to do what we do. You know, we know that we're in position to get to the FCS playoff, but we also have a chance to come to Auburn and play them very well. And they've had a couple of guys on this team that were younger pups when they came here before, weather delay and other things. They lost that game, but they remembered how that felt.
Miller with a stutter step, and he runs into a wall of blue jerseys that time. Robert Woodyard Jr., middle linebacker, leading the way with the tackle.
Man, there's an Auburn Tiger down. Looks like Falk, one of their key guys.
That's Keldrick Falk, the defensive end, kind of holding his left side just above his hip bone as he comes off the field. He is a disruptor, couple of sacks, 5 tackles for loss on the year. Mercer went 2 of 2 on 3rd down on the opening drive with gains of 36 and 25 yards. They've got 3rd and 3 here.
They've only lost 11 turnovers on the season. That's where Auburn has got to be disruptive.
Atkinson, quick throw. That's another 1st down on 3rd down. That's a mouthpiece on the field. It looked like a flag. It's a mouthpiece, though, on the field, and so no penalty there.
It got us both. I was thinking the same thing. Anthony Soto, the offensive coordinator, also came out of that UC Davis system, you know, and that's been a very explosive offense, and they do different things. And you can see what this Mercer team does. They spread you out, and they're going to fire the ball. They want to run the football, but they want to get you in bad spots and make you play them.
Kendall Harris in motion. Atkinson on the roll. And that one's incomplete. Little behind the receiver, Kendall Harris, off of his hands. For those of you that are watching that don't closely follow FCS football, you've heard us mention UC Davis a couple of times. That's one of the premier programs at the FCS level. Of course, you've got the schools in the Dakotas, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and then Montana and Montana State. Those are some of the biggest names. Mercer, kind of an emerging power in the FCS.
And they talked about being comparable to those Dakota schools if they were going to get better. And this is what they do. Those North Dakota States and
that run.
In the Montana States. I know Bobby Houck real well from my UCLA days. This is what they do. They run the football to set up the play action pass. So if you haven't seen these teams, you don't know. And you don't want to see North Dakota State the first week of the season.
You do not.
You and I have had the good fortune of calling, you know, those playoff games where they will battle you tooth and nail. But if you don't see them and you get them in a November game like this, Auburn can think. You got 18, 19, 20-year-old guys thinking, yeah, Mercer, whatever. You got to come ready to play because they're ready to ball against you.
First down after that run by Miller. Over the middle, wide open. That's Braden Smith with the catch. He's down to the 31-yard line. And this Mercer Bears offense for the 2nd consecutive drive marching.
Yeah, and Atkinson looks like he is just feeling comfortable. He's a freshman, but he's played a lot of plays. Look at him. Look outside, look inside. In a tight window, Richard. Again, getting the ball in there and not being phased. This offensive line, I'm going to tell you again, if you're DJ Durkin and that defensive staff, you're going to have to disrupt them because they do a good job of passing things off, especially if you twist and stunt.
Rare that you see an 80 in the backfield, but that's what you've got right there with Ty Dowdy, smaller in stature at 5'9", 180. Not much room dancing in the hole. That's a difference in running style than what we've seen with C.J. Miller.
C.J. Miller is a one-cut, get downhill, and C.J. Miller is also an excellent receiver out of the backfield. You got to watch him there. He caught a touchdown against Furman to get them back in the game and take the lead.
Miller back into the game after one play off, 2nd and 10. Atkinson, pressure coming. He lets it fly down the field, and that ball is incomplete. There is a flag down. Kendall Harris was the intended receiver. Was he held?
Ken Lee, I think, is going to be, if it is a holding.
Defense, number 4. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I think he got him as he was trying to come out of his break.
Yeah, these receivers are putting some pressure on Auburn's defensive backs, who you're going to see here. Lee, as soon as they'll do a lot of this where they work inside, Richard, and then work back outside, and you have to guard against that. Now, Atkinson knows he's going to have pressure, and I've watched this young man face it and not hesitate. He got a big shot right there.
Chris Murray hit him as he let it go, but a first down after the penalty. Mercer knocking on the door of the red zone. They're in it now after that carry by C.J. Miller on first down.
C.J. Miller is patient. He finds a hole, and he will hit it. And this offensive line goes 300, 300, 305, 300, and 305. This is not a small group. Xavier Jennings is probably the best lineman at the right tackle.
Back on the ground, Miller again kind of ran through an arm tackle, and then he stacked up at the 15-yard line.
Almost Le'Veon Bellish, right? You know, you kind of glide and then take off, spurt through there.
That's a big comparison.
Well, I'm not saying he's Le'Veon Bell, but the same kind of, you know, that little hesitation and then acceleration. I knew you would go there.
3rd down and a long 2. Mercer a perfect 3 for 3 on 3rd down to start the game.
Auburn is going to have to disrupt them. They are very comfortable right now.
Miller goes in motion. Now they flip it underneath. That is a first down inside the 10. Adonis McDaniel on a nifty play design.
4 carries on the year, but really is it a shovel pass, which almost looks like it, but he flips it to him, gets it inside, and McDaniel able to find the opening. Again, they've got these guys on their heels. Anthony Soto is calling a really good game right now.
This time, C.J. Miller lined up at the top of your screen. It's an empty backfield for Atkinson. He'll loft it toward the back of the end zone, and that one is incomplete. Looked like an uncatchable ball. You had Winters in coverage there.
Richard, how many times have we seen guys throw that ball short where it could be intercepted? Only the back of the end zone to get it. That's what he's done. That's what he does. He does a really nice job of not allowing the defense to make big plays against him.
So an opening drive for Mercer of 8 plays, resulting in a touchdown. This is the 12th play of the drive for the Mercer Bears. The handoff is to Miller, and he'll fight his way forward for a yard, maybe 2. Malik blocked it with the tackle that time for Auburn.
If I'm Auburn, I'm looking for Malik Simmons, who is a transfer from Lenoir-Rhyne, number 14. He has 10 catches, 4 touchdowns. He's one of those guys that Atkinson looks for within the red zone.
Mercer 4 for 4 on 3rd down. They've got it 3rd and goal. Atkinson fires toward the end zone. That ball is caught for a touchdown. Ajante Dabbs able to hold on and secure it to the ground.
He threw that ball to the back pylon, and Dabbs went up and snagged it.
Replay officials will take a look before this ball is snapped for the extra point.
Dabbs goes up at the highest point, gets the ball. Yeah, that ball didn't move once he got it in his body.
Kind of tucked it with his right hand. Not going to take time to look at it anymore. Touchdown call on the field stands, and Mercer for the first time since 2020, when they led 3-0 against Auburn, against Army, has a lead over an FBS opponent. It's a touchdown lead here on the Plains.
They are trying to get this thing happening, and Dabbs with an outstanding catch to take the lead.
Coming up tonight at 7:45 Eastern on the SEC Network, it's LSU and Western Kentucky. Tom, Jordan, and Cole on the call. Game also available on the all-new ESPN app. 14-7 our score from Jordan-Hare Stadium. Mercer going with a short kick. Fair catch taken, and Auburn will start from the 25-yard line. 2:59 to go in the opening quarter. Mercer has never won a game against an FBS program. 0-11 all time. They have looked the part early. You see that 21 plays, 135 yards, 10:01 time of possession.
They've come out and done exactly what they told us they wanted to do, and that's start fast. I mean, even after Deuce Knight with the big play, but only 4 plays totally.
Yeah, one of those 4 plays for Auburn went for 75 yards on the scamper first play of the ball game for Deuce Knight, who is getting his first career start. He goes toss pitch to the right side. Good pursuit on the carry. Jeremiah Cobb is wrestled down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard.
Drew Clare and Tommy Bliss, really nice job of getting outside quickly and not allowing him to get any positive yards.
Drew Clare, the linebacker, with 73 tackles on the year. Knight to the air. That's a good pitch and catch. Cam Coleman on the reception. Coleman, the sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama, had a season-high 143 receiving yards in Auburn's last game against Vanderbilt.
I'm excited to see him, and I know Derek Nix and this offense really want to get the ball into his hands.
Knight back to the air. Complete to the opposite side of the field to Malcolm Simmons. Just his 5th catch his 18th catch of the year.
I'm really happy for Derek Nix getting the opportunity to be offensive coordinator. You know, he's been around, and you can see all the books that he has of the different offenses that he's been in, and he wants to go tempo, but he really wants to get this ball out and get guys into the offense.
Cobb stacked up at the 45. He's going to be short of the first down. Another tackle for Drew Clare. Derek Nix, you mentioned the offensive coordinator in his second season here at Auburn. Brought in a year ago and was involved in game planning and some play calling. Game against Vanderbilt, though, was his first time. No training wheels, nobody else. It was his game plan. It was his game call. And Auburn's offense looked a little different. They played fast, and they were aggressive. This is Jackson Arnold into the game, trying to run it for a first down. Looks like he's got the necessary yardage to move the chains.
Yeah, they said there would be some packages for him. We would see him in a little bit. But this was Deuce Nix's game to play. Deuce Knight, excuse me.
Jackson Arnold, the junior from Denton, Texas, the transfer from Oklahoma, came in. A lot of fanfare around him coming into this season. Much of the year, it was like the offense was just kind of stuck in the mud.
Too many people calling plays, in my opinion.
Deuce Knight taking a shot down the field. That's Cam Coleman, and it's incomplete. Knocked away at the last moment by K.J. Thomas. The freshman corner got his hand in.
How many times do you see a freshman corner panic, or any corner? But K.J. Thomas goes to the hands, not the body. And if you do that, you have a chance to succeed. That ball probably could have been thrown a little bit further because Cam Coleman had him beat, but nice job by K.J. Thomas.
2nd and 10 from just shy of midfield. Knight, quick pass, incomplete. That one just a touch behind Malcolm Simmons. Carmelo O'Neal in coverage.
One of their better defensive backs at 6'4", 200. O'Neal, long and lengthy. This is where, when you haven't played a whole lot of games, balls can be behind or a little short. We've seen 2 in a row where he has a home run ball, that's a touchdown, or that one there, just a little bit behind the receiver, which gives Carmelo O'Neal a chance to knock it down.
Eric Singleton lines up in the backfield, a wide receiver, and now he'll motion out into the slot at the top of your screen. Jeremiah Cobb is at the very bottom of the formation. Deuce Knight got some room, going to take off running. It's another big running play for Deuce Knight. Gets outside to the 15, to the 10. He did it again. Second rushing touchdown for number 9.
When you go wide spread, you get worried because you have nobody to account for the quarterback. And Knight knows that, and Derek Nix knows that. Look at everybody spread out. And if you don't get to them and you don't keep with the integrity of your rush lanes, number 9 is going to beat you. You have everybody there. You got a guy that's kind of trying to play spy, but he's so far over, and he's going to be the one that has to make the tackle, and he can't. There's no chance for Isaac Prince, and then the secondary is all in man coverage, so bye-bye Knight.
McPherson ties it up. That was a 51-yard touchdown run for Deuce Knight. Add that to the 75-yard run he had earlier in the ballgame.
The frustration for the coaching staff for Mercer, but you have everything called that you think, and you got to come up. Caleb Hutchinson and Isaac Prince are the only 2 guys that can make that for a long game, but not a home run game.
By the way, I'll do the math for you. That's 2 carries, 126 yards, averaging 63 yards per carry.
Yeah, and that's the thing that he brings to the table that gets everyone here excited.
Obviously, the 2 big highlight plays from Deuce Knight, but this was a better drive for Auburn. 8 plays, threw it around a little bit, had some running plays mixed in.
Had an opportunity to hit Cam Coleman for a long touchdown, was a little short, and then all of a sudden he just takes it into his own hands.
Braden Smith is the return man. And once again, a touchback, and Mercer, with 28 seconds left in this first quarter, will begin its 3rd offensive possession. Deuce Knight joins Phil Gargis in 1974, Cam Newton in 2010, and Jackson Arnold earlier this year as the only Tiger quarterbacks to rush for 100 or more yards in their debut, starting debut.
Pretty big names there. Yeah, we haven't even gotten out of the first quarter.
That's on 2 carries.
Oh, man.
All right, 14-14. Braden Atkinson and Mercer from their own 25. Screen pass set up. Miller's got some room. He's got a first down. He's out across the 40-yard line. Kay and Lee on the tackle.
They do that well also, Richard. Their screen game, you got to guard against it. You got a team that likes to rush and get after the quarterback, and you just let them all fly by you. Again, Falk is nicked up.
Hey, you had Keldrick Falk hurt on that previous possession, was back on the field to start this drive, and kind of comes off slowly, holding that left arm once again close to his body. 15 minutes in the books, 14-14, Mercer and Auburn. It's the SoCon and the SEC on a gorgeous Saturday on the Plains. Keldrick Falk on the sideline, the junior from Highland Homes, Alabama. He was preseason first team all SEC, and after this final, or the last play before the break, second possession in a row, he's kind of come slowly off the field.
That's a big loss for them if he can't come back. He's the guy that they talked about, everyone that you talked to in this program, about how good he's played, what he brings to this defense.
Nobody in orange and blue today, losing sight of the fact that A week from now, Auburn will be back in this stadium, hosting their arch rival Alabama in one of the greatest rivalries in all of sport.
And they're fighting for bowl eligibility also.
And they're giving up some big plays on the defensive side right now. That's another first down.
And it's interesting you say that, because even in that losing streak and then finally winning a game against Arkansas, this defense has played pretty well. It was just after that Kentucky game where they struggled, and Vanderbilt had to beat them in a game where they even talked about they weren't expecting them to play that way.
Prior to the Vanderbilt game 2 weeks ago, Auburn was one of 3 teams in the country who had given up 24 or fewer points in every game this season. Flag comes in behind the play this time in the area where you would think holding. That was Ty Dowdy on the carry.
Holding.
The other two.
Offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty, first down.
The other two are Ohio State and Indiana. That's teams number 1 and 2 in the college football playoff rankings.
Well, I think you just go back to that Oklahoma game, and I don't think the people here want to hear about that, but that game to me just seemed to discombobulate this Auburn team, and they never could get back on good footing. That's why Hugh Freeze is no longer here. That's why DJ Durkin is the interim head coach. But ever since they made these changes, this team has played better offensively, which is where Hugh made his name.
Atkinson throws in, and it's incomplete. Nearly an interception that time by Jay Crawford. Corner jumped the route. That was one of those late throws you were talking about.
This is the one thing on tape that I saw. If I'm Braden Atkinson, you can't do this, and he's getting pressured. You can't be late in the middle of the field, because this Auburn team will pick you off. Jay Crawford knows he should have had that interception. It would have been his second one of the year.
Into the game in the backfield. Atkinson, a little low snap, maybe wasn't quite ready for it. He has a short completion, going to bring up 3rd and long. Adonis McDaniel on the catch.
And this is where I think you really want to see Mercer. How do they manage this? 3rd and long, they haven't been here most of the first half. And now you know Auburn is going to dial it up with some pressure. And I'd say keep a close eye on 17, because 15 is not in the game. 17 has Xavier Atkins has 7.5 sacks on the season as well.
Mercer a perfect 5 of 5 on 3rd down. They have not faced 3rd and 16 yet. Quick pass, tunnel screen, looking for some blocks. That's Sajante Dabbs. Pretty conservative play call there on 3rd and 16.
Yeah, they knew with this defense dialing up some pressure, they had to get the ball out quick. Dabbs, who scored the touchdown earlier in the first quarter, didn't have enough blocking in front, and Auburn did a nice job of rallying to the football.
John McConnell will punt for Mercer, the 5th-year senior out of Morgantown, West Virginia, transfer from Marshall, averaging a little over 45 yards per punt. Looking to kill one inside the 20, spinning, and that's going to land in the end zone, roll through the back. And so not the result Mercer was looking for. There is a flag on the play back at the 40-yard line. On the campus of Auburn, a gorgeous Saturday. Temperatures in the 70s in late November.
To the kicker. The kicker was outside of the box when the contact occurred. First down, Auburn.
James Carter says no flag for running into the kicker. Tied at 14, Auburn ball when we come back. Deuce Knight is the third different Auburn quarterback with multiple rushing touchdowns in a game this season. These are two pretty spectacular runs. 75 yards on the first one, 51 on the second. 2 carries for 126 yards. For the true freshman, Deuce Knight out of Loosedale, Mississippi. He hands it off to Jeremiah Cobb to start this drive. A flag comes in behind the play. It's going to be holding against Auburn.
One guy we haven't called is Andrew Zock. He's a key guy on the defensive line for Mercer.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Andrew Zock, defensive end, who we were talking about just a moment ago. Last week, he was the SoCon Player of the Week.
8 siblings.
Where's number 0? About that. 18.5 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks.
Yeah, he's a disruptive force. 22 quarterback hurries.
Just a sophomore. On the ground, Cobb again. Not much there. Gain of 2.5, maybe 3. Drew Clare and Julian Fox combined on the tackle for the Bears.
Cobb has really just had he's starting to get banged up. You can see him coming off a little bit. He's just wear and tear from the season. He's taken a lot of shots and has 153 rushes on the year.
So here's Justin Jones, spins his way out of a tackle across the 20 out to the 25. That's first down yardage for the senior from Bessemer. Transferred to Auburn from UAB, Justin Jones. Just his 4th carry of the year, gain of 19.
And now they're going to go that tempo that the offense coordinator, Coach Nix, talked about.
And spreading the defense out, a 4-receiver set. This time they fake it to Jones, pass high and incomplete.
Good defense by Tommy Bliss. Fox coming in late.
So intended for Preston Howard, had it in his hands, the ball kind of bounced up in the air just for a moment.
I know, dangerous area. The one thing that this team has not done a good job, Mercer, has not stopped the run with either Deuce Knight or the running backs.
Knight, quick pass off the mark, and again behind the receiver. We've seen that a couple of times, trying to hook up there with Eric Singleton Jr.
And Richard, he has a fastball now. Deuce Knight, the ball comes out quick.
But part of pitching is location also, right?
Exactly.
Auburn 157 yards on the ground, just 20 through the air so far. You see the flag come in. Knight taking a shot and overthrew everybody.
They got him. Real good job by Deuce Knight of, we call it freeze, where you get that defense to come off sides and then you have a free play and you try to get something out of it.
Defense, number 15, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Kobe McKinnis on that defensive line was the early one to move.
He's a really good young player, one of those freshmen that is making a lot of noise for this Mercer team.
So 3rd and 5.
Almost got him again.
Knight getting a play call change from the sideline. They tighten the formation up. Deuce Knight looking to throw. And he's got a man. It's complete on the catch. Perry Thompson just shy of midfield. A first down. Jawan Johnson brought him down. Gain of 12.
Yeah, Deuce Knight looks like he's starting to get more comfortable, and this is where they want to go, where they can just let him kind of tempo and make some decisions.
Fresh set of downs for Auburn. They go back to the ground. It's Jones on the carry. Runs through the first tackle into Mercer territory, and enough for a first down. A couple of good runs for Justin Jones, getting some opportunities today.
RPO game opening it up for him, and the quarterback, you got to be concerned about him as well.
Back to the air. Short gain after Preston Howard hauls it in, his 9th catch of the season.
It's almost like a hockey change on the defensive line. You see all those other defenders coming in to substitute.
Toss to Jones, trying to get to the outside. Good pursuit there. That is Drew Clare, who has played a good game early, the junior from Alpharetta.
Every time you see him having to go over and take away a guy, 51, White, in the middle of your screen, watch how he just gets over there, does a nice job, and gets in position and stays there and makes a play. Really nice job by Clare.
Fourth tackle of the game for Drew Clare. Another third down here for Auburn. Singleton lined up in the backfield. Now he goes to the slot, top of your screen. Deuce Knight surveying the field on the catch. Malcolm Simmons inside the 10-yard line. Knight started left, and then he came back to the middle.
And the other thing is they only rushed 2 or 3 and dropped everybody, thinking they could get in the way and also keep an eye on Deuce Knight. And he's still able to find an opening in the middle of the field of Malcolm Simmons.
Gain of 30 there for Auburn as Jeremiah Cobb is back in. Auburn just inside the 10. It's Deuce Knight keeping it himself. Spins through a tackle. Third rushing touchdown of the game for Deuce Knight. Auburn retakes the lead.
He becomes a problem the minute he has the ball in his hands. He shows you he can pass the football, and we're seeing that element of him. But on the ground, there's no one to account for him. And Cobb, 23, watch him come out here and get a block. There's other guys blocking for him, but he beats 2 guys, 3 guys, and gets in the end zone.
In high school, Deuce Knight had over 1,300 yards rushing, 31 rushing touchdowns. He's got 3 today. First time wearing the Auburn jersey as a starting quarterback. Extra point from McPherson is good, and it's now 21-14.
Well, when you got a guy that has this kind of ability, you put the ball in his hands, and the lefty will make you pay, even in the right hand, spin it to the end zone for touchdown.
Tonight, after the primetime matchup in Baton Rouge between Western Kentucky and LSU in the SEC Network, it's SEC Football Final. Tori Noka, Chris Doring, and Benjamin Watson in studio. They'll take you through the biggest stories of the day and break down all the games. It's all available on the all-new ESPN app.
Well, we know Deuce Knight can run the football.
We do.
Make some big plays with it.
Brayton Smith is the deep return man for Mercer. Alongside Charles Arbuckle and our entire SEC Network crew, I'm Richard Cross. Glad to have you along from Jordan-Hare Stadium 8 minutes left in this first half. 21-14, an entertaining game so far between Auburn and Mercer. Shorter kick this time into the wind. Air catch made at the 4. So they'll bring it out to the 25.
And I also think the defense has kind of started to get a beat on this Mercer offense. But it'll be interesting to see what Braden Atkinson can do. He is, every time I watch this team and they get behind, they just kind of figure out ways to keep getting that offense rolling. The defense is struggling now, so they've got to continue to score points to keep up with this Auburn team.
Mercer has scored 38 or more in each of their 9 wins during this current winning streak. Beg your pardon, in 8 in a row. Had a close win against Wofford, 22-21. And then followed it up with wins over the Citadel and East Tennessee State, Samford and Princeton, VMI and Furman, Western Carolina, and then clinched the outright solo SoCon title in a 63-17 win last week over Chattanooga.
I also think, too, the level of competition they're getting ready to face in the FCS playoffs, this is a good test for you playing this Auburn ball club.
Atkinson lofts it, got one-on-one on the outside, and the catch is made. C.J. Miller out of the backfield hauls it in.
Richard, man, he has some hands. They're going up and getting that ball. He averages for a running back 12.3 yards per catch. Look at the snag. He takes the ball and pulls it in.
Just reached right over the head of Robert Woodyard. It's a foot down. Moves the chains for Mercer.
You normally don't see your running back have that kind of capability from a receiver standpoint to go up and get the ball.
Micah Bell now in the backfield alongside Atkinson. They give it to Bell, and he breaks free out across midfield. Another first down for Mercer.
They talked about those guys being good, and as a unit, they average 7.5 yards per carry versus UT Chattanooga. And you're going to see this interior line come off and do a nice job on the inside.
Right back to the line.
Yeah, they're not hesitating.
Carry of 4 there for Bell. He's averaging just under 5 yards per carry this season.
Yeah, he is a guy that, along with C.J. Miller, we saw Ty Dottie. Billy Martin also has played a role, but a lot of C.J. Miller.
Second and 6. Dowdy motions into the backfield. They fake it to him. Atkinson leaning back, takes a shot. He's got one-on-one, diving for it, incomplete. Intended that time for Adonis McDaniel.
You know what I liked about this team already is they have not been afraid to attack this secondary for, I mean, he had a step on it. Ball just overthrown just a little bit. And he's fighting through. That's the other thing. Their receivers haven't allowed Auburn to rough them up at the line of scrimmage, and they just keep battling to get on track to go get that ball.
Tyrell Cord now in the backfield. Atkinson over the middle. He's got a completion. That's another first down. And the Mercer Bears now 6 of 7 on third downs as Ajante Dabbs went up and hauled that one in.
And the only one they didn't get was a 3rd and long. You're going to see this crossing route. He gets into that interior. Pleasant is chasing, but look what Atkinson puts the ball, where he can get it, catch it, turn up, and get that first down.
19-yard gain. 5th catch of the game for Dabbs. He's got 61 receiving yards and a touchdown. Atkinson swings it, and low and incomplete. That time at the feet of Adonis McDaniel. You know, we talked yesterday with DJ Durkin, now the interim head coach, along with the defensive coordinator, about what was different against Vanderbilt in his first game as interim head coach because it's the most points Auburn had given up all season long. And he said, well, first and foremost, that's a really good Vanderbilt team
yeah.
with Diego Pavia making plays that there aren't many guys in the country that can make. But he admitted that there was a lot on his plate in addition to calling the defense, being the head coach of this team.
Yeah, and that's the one thing when you get in the seat of the head coach, you got so many other things, booster things, you know, making sure that everything is running. You have to be the CEO. And it took away a little bit of his defensive coordinator opportunities and ability.
Not a lot there on the outside for Tyrell Cord. And then there was another piece to it as well, and that is Vanderbilt kind of ran a different offense than they had run at any point this season. They spread things out. Yeah. They would hurry up. They tried to kind of stretch Auburn
Eli
horizontally.
Stowers, 12 catches, and I mean, it was just they really changed it at halftime. He said, or going into that second half.
DJ Durkin, former head coach at Maryland, was there for a couple of years.
It's funny, I called his games when he was at Bowling Green when I was first starting in the industry back in the late 90s.
3rd and 8. Atkinson to the end zone off the fingertips of Adonis McDaniel. He had it there. Probably would like another shot at that one.
Yeah, McDaniel had that one again in a spot where this young quarterback has not flinched. Maybe the sun in his eyes, but look at this throw and an opportunity for another touchdown. McDaniel just can't bring that in.
Adonis McDaniel at 5'10", 170. If he's 6'1",
6'2", 6'1", he gets it.
Reese Griffith's going to try the field goal from 42 yards. And he hits it well, and he hits it true, and it's through the uprights. And that is the 14th made field goal of the season for the all-time leading scorer in Mercer football history. 4-point game with 4:09 until that.
Introducing SportsCenter for you. personalized every single day. Now available on the ESPN app. Powered by your favorites.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Cloudy, a little rainy this morning and much of yesterday, but the sun has popped out. A gorgeous November afternoon. A lot of shorts, not what you normally would expect on the 22nd of November. The kick goes out of bounds, and so Auburn will have outstanding field position to start this drive.
By rule, that ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Talked about Derek Nix as the offensive coordinator now for Auburn after a standout career at Southern Mississippi and beginning his coaching career there. He spent 16 seasons at Ole Miss as the running back coach, wide receiver coach, became the assistant head coach in his last season there before moving over to Auburn for that offensive coordinator title. It is now more than just a title for Derek Nix.
We talked about being able to coach with Lane Kiffin and Bobby Petrino. I mean, you know all the names. Just a bunch of offensive guys that helped him shape how he wanted to run a system.
Derek Nix, one of the all-time good guys in college football. He's fought through a lot from a health standpoint. Kidney disease that led to a kidney transplant that he received from his brother Marcus back in 2003. That was wrapped around 3 different 1,000-yard rushing seasons in his time at Southern Miss. He's in second place all-time as the leading rusher for the Golden Eagles. Cobb here on the ground. But you think about his time at Ole Miss, that 16-year window. That was across 4 different coaches. That was Houston Nutt, Hugh Freeze, Matt Luke, and then Lane Kiffin. You don't see that many guys that carry over staff to staff, much less across 4 staffs.
That shows you how good he is and how consistent each coach knew he would be on that staff.
Knight tries to go to Cam Coleman as a safety valve. Throw was too high.
Well, and I think, too, let's just face it, now that he has the opportunity and the ability, the autonomy to call what he wants to, this offense is going to be different, and we've seen that. They're still in bowl contention. They win this game, and by chance beat Alabama, you got a chance to go to a bowl or be bowl eligible.
Auburn 4 of 5 on 3rd down. 3rd and 8 here. Deuce Knight steps up in the pocket, now flushed. Trying to get to the outside. Going to make something happen with his feet once again, and that something is a first down. Julian Fox ran him out of bounds, but another big rushing play. Gain of 10 for Deuce Knight.
When you lose contain against Knight, you're going to pay. Look at Zero, Sock right there, and then you got Swain trying to chase him 91. Neither one of those guys can catch up to a guy like Deuce Knight. You've got to have lane rush integrity against this young man.
Darrell Robinson in with Knight. He gets the toss toward the Auburn sideline. If you go back to that run that Deuce Knight had a second ago, it wasn't an immediate decision to run. He was eyes down the field until the last moment.
I've liked that about him the whole time. He just, when he sees it though, and he's decisive in what he's going to do with it, he makes you pay.
Coming up on the 2-minute timeout. Auburn with a 4-point lead. Looks like they're going to be content to get to the timeout before they run another play. 21-17 our score. Auburn in front and driving. Ashton Daniels had played in 3 games, including his start last week against Vanderbilt, where he went for 353 through the air, over 400 yards total offense, a couple of passing touchdowns, a couple of rushing touchdowns. Trying to preserve his red shirt. DJ Durkin talked openly about that. He said, look, you've got to make decisions that are for the best of the team, but also for the best of an individual player. They thought they were able to thread the needle in having Ashton Daniels sit out this game, have the opportunity for Deuce Knight to get his first start, and then Daniels available for the Iron Bowl next week against Alabama, because that would be his 4th game of the year.
One of the best defended runs or scrambles for Knight, and he still picks up about 3 or 4 yards.
Going to bring up another 3rd down.
Well, and what'll be interesting with that is you now have some decisions to make in the Iron Bowl. You know, with Deuce Knight doing what he's doing today, that just only gives you more tools in the toolbox.
Justin Jones releases out of the backfield. This pass on the money to Simmons. Malcolm Simmons wrestled down just inside the 20. First down for Auburn. KJ Thomas on the tackle. Minute 45 until the half.
Great yak after the catch. Simmons is going to just give you, whenever he catches it, he's looking to knife and dart and do everything to get more positive yards. So one area they thought they could attack the secondary with their receiving group, who had not had great games throughout the season, but has really started to come on as of late.
And that pass to Simmons was on the money. We've seen a couple of the intermediate throws that have not worked. Deuce Knight outside. Deuce Knight end zone. 4th first half rushing touchdown. This one from 20 yards out.
Great call into the boundary, knowing that once you get everything you have there and Deuce Knight really rolling, there's no one to stop him. This has been a tough young man to stop.
9 plays, 65 yards, 2:54 off the clock. Auburn with its first breathing room in the game, trying to make it an 11-point game with the extra point from McPherson.
Watch the defense collapse to that side in the boundary. And Deuce Knight has a blocker out in front of him, Justin Jones, but what he does so effectively is he picks an area. Not even Drew Clare, who's been doing a phenomenal job in open field tackling, can get to him. But once he makes a decision, he's gone.
It's been a decade and a half since Auburn has had a quarterback go for 4 touchdowns in a game. The last one to do it won a Heisman Trophy. His name?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Superman, at least when he was in an Auburn jersey.
I'll tell you, man, the first time I saw Auburn live was with the Cotton Bowl when they played the Texas A&M Aggies, and Bo Jackson, he didn't kill the Aggies, but he had some phenomenal runs. And I just went back home as a 16, 15-year-old guy like, who the heck is that dude? And now, you know, everybody here knew who he was, but he was a phenomenal player in his own right.
Also a guy with a Heisman Trophy in the cabinet.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned 2 of the 3. Pat Sullivan the other. Let's kick into the end zone. Minute 15 remaining in the half for the Mercer offense. Coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the Auburn University Marching Band. It's on the SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN app. Auburn Band, heck of a pregame show.
They did. They put on a nice, that whole pageantry at the beginning was really outstanding.
You and I were talking about that off the air right before the game started. I said to you, as many times as I've been here, it's always a place where this feels like college football. You got the pageantry and the band and the hedges and the natural grass. All right, what's Mercer going to try to do with 75 seconds until the half?
Well, they get the ball back, so if they can come away with any points, this is a plus for them.
Start out on the ground and not a whole lot there. Flip side of that is, do you say we get the ball to start the second half, let's go conservative here and not give up any more points?
I would think so, because this Auburn team, you don't want to give them momentum going into halftime. They've already scored a few times, and it's been hard to stop Deuce Knight. It looks like they're just going methodically and just going to let this clock run out and go to the half and come back out.
Micah Bell in the backfield with Atkinson. Atkinson looking to throw. He'll loft it out into the flats, and that's a short gain.
Elijah Melendez.
Sawyer Burt with just his second catch of the season.
6'5", 250 redshirt junior.
Over the middle, it's intercepted. Caleb Harris with the pick. His first interception of the year. That one got away from Atkinson, just kind of floated out, and an easy pick that time for Caleb Harris.
And now you give the ball back to Deuce Knight, who has been on a roll. This is just not a good decision by Atkinson. Has a guy in the middle of the field, but the ball is way too high. And nice job of an interception and return by Caleb Harris.
Shall we go back to the conversation about being conservative before the half?
Yeah.
That's the 15th forced turnover of the year by Auburn. Their 10th in the last 5 games.
First one for Caleb Harris on the year. This team is, for a team that has struggled, they're still +8, now +9 on the season.
I think they call that play where Deuce Knight runs around and goes into the end zone. He's going to try with the arm. Catch come to Eric Singleton. Singleton has a reception in every single game in which he has played in his Auburn career.
I think Auburn would try to also get in position if they don't score a touchdown to get 3 points.
Timeout taken there. 2nd and 2 coming up. First timeout of the half for Auburn. 18 seconds remaining. How about that? 35 straight with a catch for Singleton. It's top 10 in the country in terms of active streaks.
He had a transfer from Georgia Tech. And just think about this. This offense did not have the consistency in the quarterback position. And Jackson Arnold was the guy that they thought would be the one that could make it happen. He has not been. But this receiver room, the talent that's there, you've got to realize with Singleton, Simmons, and Cam Coleman, there are some very explosive weapons.
Cobb in the backfield. Frazier, the tight end, comes in tight. Knight quickly to the air. That's a first down. And Simmons on the catch. 4th of the ball game for Malcolm Simmons. 13 seconds until halftime. All at the 19. Auburn trying to add to the lead. They're in front by 11 before the break. Knight to the air, and that is Singleton with the catch down to the 10. A yard short of the first down, and a timeout taken by Auburn. 6 seconds left.
Second charge time of the half. Auburn. 30 seconds in length.
Probably a spot where if you want to take a shot at the end zone, you've got time to do it. You just don't have a lot of extra time.
You've got to be quick with whatever it is, and you're in a position where you can do that. Maybe a quick fade to a guy like Cam Coleman at 6'3", 201.
Tuned in at halftime with Dari Noka, Chris Doering, and Benjamin Watson as they look ahead to the 3 later games today, most notably Tennessee and Florida coming up tonight. Then an Egg Bowl week preview. Both Mississippi State and Ole Miss off this week. Ole Miss currently at number 6 in the college football playoff rankings. 1 win away from their first 11-win regular season in school history.
Having a great season, but you don't know where your head coach is going, has to be a little disconcerting.
There are a few off-the-field storylines surrounding that game, yes, to put it mildly.
Oh, my goodness.
2nd down, but the down not so much important. The time on the clock is 6 seconds remaining. Deuce Knight looking to go quickly. Fires it to the end zone. Trying to go back shoulder. How about a touchdown for Cam Coleman? Does he make catches that aren't hard?
I don't know if Carmelo O'Neal can do anything more and from a coverage standpoint, but I said, find him in the isolation and get you a touchdown right before. And Deuce Knight, even though he's run the ball effectively, look at the strike to Cam Coleman, who does a phenomenal job turning and catching with his body and keeping O'Neal off of him and able to pull it in and come down with it.
He finished with two hands, but can we call that another one-handed catch for Cam Coleman? He had the back-to-back catches against Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago, the touchdown catch and then the two-point conversion, one with the right hand, one with the left hand.
I was telling you that having called a bunch of Calvin Johnson's games, I'm not comparing him to Megatron at all. But from the quarterback position standpoint, and I love Reggie Ball as a competitor, but Reggie Ball was not a big-time quarterback. But to see this guy consistently, and even hear these coaches talk about they have never been around anybody that can make plays like he does, you can see why he's so well thought of and why they think he has so much potential in this offense.
5th touchdown catch of the year for Cam Coleman.
And you know what you can tell from that touchdown? He's a heck of a basketball player. Played in state championships, knows how to use his body, and probably can flush on you when he wants to.
Yeah, feels like he could probably dunk.
And not just dunk. It'll be like, how do you want me to do this, sir? And DJ Durkin has a little bit of a little smile.
Another touchback, 3 seconds until the half. Kind of a worst case scenario for Mercer. They were down 21-17, but 2 touchdowns in the last minute and a half of this first half has given Auburn some breathing room as we head toward the locker room with just 3 seconds left on the clock.
The worst thing you could do right there was have a turnover, and I know Braden Atkinson has been so good with protecting the football, but Auburn finally started to figure out how to attack him and make him throw into a bad area.
That kneel down will take us to the half. Mercer will have the ball to start the second half. Things really, really good for Mercer for the first quarter, about half the second quarter, but Auburn with some breathing room. An incredible debut as a starter for Deuce Knight. 173 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. And, oh, by the way, 120 through the air with a passing score to Cam Coleman. Halftime on the Plains, 35-17. Auburn in front of Mercer. Look at it coming up.
Welcome into the SEC Halftime Report. Dari Doring and Watson as we start to look at game coming up a little bit later tonight. ABC's got it. It's Tennessee, Florida. We'll dive into that. Of course, Coastal Carolina, South Carolina right here at 4:15 Eastern Time. And then we're at Tiger Stadium in prime time for the Hilltoppers and LSU. But let's get into this Tennessee and Florida. I want to kind of break this down a little bit of a different way, right? Little bit of a different way as these two teams get going over on ABC at 7:30 Eastern Time. I know it's a disappointing season for Florida, but certainly beating Tennessee would
What do you mean?
create a little bit of fun and positivity.
All that yes, it would. It would do that, and there are some things to highlight for the Florida Gators. The defense has largely been good, and Jaden Baugh, a second ago we saw, has been really the most consistent thing on offense.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go a little over-under here, shall we? Jaden Baugh, over or under 19.5 touches in this game?
It better be well over.
Better be well over
touches, because not only is he their most effective runner, B-Dub, now all of a sudden he's become a consistent ball catcher out of the backfield. Even last week, they line him up at receiver. He's running slants, catching the ball in traffic. So I think we need to see that number about 30.
It also takes the ball out of the quarterback hands as well. And so we've seen Florida quarterbacks struggle, namely DJ Lagway, with protecting the football. One thing you do for that is give the ball to the running back. And quite honestly, Tennessee's defense hasn't been the defense that we saw last year. I mean, this defense for Tennessee last year was top of the SEC, top of the nation in a lot of categories. They struggled repeatedly this season. So one way to attack them is to run the football. And this game, CD, this game is about pride. I did not realize that it's been 10 trips for Tennessee going on the road and losing at Florida.
I like to say 2003 better. It sounds much more impressive.
It does. Twice in 50 years. That sounds even more impressive. But the fact that they've won 3 games, Florida, you beat Tennessee, there's something to salvage from the season.
You know, there's a reason. Steve Spurrier once said, can't have citrus without UT. Yeah, domination.
I don't know if the new generation of Vol Gator fans know that.
They don't, but now they might.
It's iconic,
right?
right?
Absolutely.
They're looking it up right now.
By the way, the
was
last
iconic.
year of this until we take a break for a couple of years with the schedule changing.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, there are some of those sad situations with the schedule change, but there's also exciting situations with new matchups. Okay, how about another little over-under, more or less? Joey Aguilar, the SEC's passing leader in yards per game, goes over or under the 294 mark?
Ooh, I'm going to go under, all right? I'm going to say reluctantly under, because I feel like as hot as Joey Aguilar was playing early in the season, there's been a little bit of regression. This is a really strong group of receivers that he has to throw to, though. I really feel like Florida's emphasis is going to limit some of those explosive plays in the secondary, although Florida has given up a number of those recently themselves. So I'm not sure. I'm going to side with the fact that I'm going to take under reluctantly, though.
I don't know why. I mean, against conference opponents, he's 330 yards per game. And so, yeah, he's 294 for everybody. But against conference opponents, Joey Aguilar continues to show up. A lot of that happens in the first quarter where they are blitzkrieging teams, 14 points in the first quarter, highest in FBS. And so I agree with you. I think there's going to be explosive plays. I think Florida's going to struggle a bit. And I think Aguilar may turn the ball over. We've seen that, but continue to stay aggressive throwing the ball, especially in a conference game.
I know a few weeks ago against a pretty good Oklahoma defense, he threw for almost 390.
Yeah.
So there you go. But
He's
riding with that under.
He's got faith in his Gators.
All right, next up, yes, he does. He does have faith in his Gators. We see it every Saturday. These two teams not unknown to turn the football over. How about a total turnover number of 3.5? In other words, will this be pretty or ugly?
Pound the over, right?
Really?
I mean, look, we talked about the quarterback situation over the last couple of weeks. These two quarterbacks have combined to throw 6 interceptions, 4 of them from Aguilar in the last 2 ball games, 2 from DJ Lagway. So I think the quarterbacks themselves are going to turn the football over eventually. So even if you just asked me interceptions, I would have taken over.
Yeah, 32 combined turnovers for both teams, giveaways for both teams together this season. And so, yeah, and also think this is going to be a game. I think this might be a game that kind of mirrors some of the older Tennessee, Florida games where we see teams trying to score. I expect to see some offense in this game. I expect to see some aggression, and sometimes with that aggression, offensively, turnovers happen.
Yes, as Jonathan in my ear says, Thanksgiving coming up, right? Everybody's just kind of giving away. We may see plenty of turnovers in this football game over on ABC 7:30 Eastern Time. All right, let's pick a score. How about a score pick? Got one?
The Vols don't win in Gainesville. I know it's been a tough year for Florida, but I'm taking Florida to win this game 34-27.
I like it. I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee. I think they, you're looking at me kind of crazy. I'm taking Tennessee around 35. I think Florida scores about 24. Yeah.
Double-digit win in Gainesville.
I do.
I do.
Hammer the Tennessee line.
Yeah.
What he's saying. All righty. Of course, Friday, so, short week, but not a short week, actually, because neither of these Egg Bowl teams are playing this week. They're getting ready for the Egg Bowl in Starkville on Friday. Of course, Ole Miss sitting there at number 6 in the college football playoff rankings. Some question what a loss would do to them, how tenuous their playoff positioning might be if that happens. Their job is to make sure that it doesn't. Fortunately, there's nothing distracting going on down there. Everything's just, nice and peaceful. Everybody knows the future of the program and who's going to lead it. Now, let's talk about these teams real quick. B-Dub, I'll start with you here. If you're Ole Miss, what's been your focus, aside from the Kiffin stuff, as you prepare for Mississippi State?
I don't know if you can focus aside from the Kiffin stuff.
Really?
I mean, it sounds great to say. I've been on teams where a head coach has been in flux. There's been all this stuff on the outside. The individual players, Dari, have to focus on doing their job, but there's also this other noise. And so I don't know how you go into a game of this magnitude playing a rival in your own state with all that's going on. What should they be focused on? Without that, if you were to ask me that question, I would say obviously going out and not playing down to an opponent. Going out and understanding what your team is. You are a team that can run the football exceptionally well with Keywan Lacey. You are a team that has a quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss that is getting better. You're explosive on offense. You've got a lot in front of you from a CFP perspective. And so now's the time to go out and win a rivalry game. But, I mean, the cloud that is over this program, and it's not necessarily all negative, but anytime as an athlete, we are creatures of routine. Anytime as an athlete, you're having to field questions from your mom and dad texting you. You're having to field questions during media time from the media asking you, so if coach leaves, are you going to go follow him? You're having to answer all these non-football related questions. It takes away from a rivalry game, and we know what can happen when rivals face off.
This specific rivalry,
exactly.
too, underdogs typically have been able to pull off some upsets you wouldn't expect. So it's a dangerous spot for Ole Miss, certainly. But I would push back a little bit. Like, I think you and I are looking at it through the old guy perspective as old athletes.
Yeah.
These young guys, they move around a lot. They're like, hey, same thing that we do. I mean,
you got a point.
Maybe it's not as big of an impact on them with the talk because they're just used to the transient nature of college football these days. With that being said, I think this team, Dari, remembers back. I know a lot of new faces on this year's team, but a lot of them remember back to last year, letting the Kentucky game get away early in the season, letting the Florida game late in the year get away. I really believe they learned from those mistakes last year, and they're going to play with a much higher level of focus and intensity in this one. I do not expect them to drop, because if they do, depending on who the coach is, too, they could find themselves out of the playoff field for sure.
They could win and find themselves out, depending on what happens with
I have
coach.
a hard time believing that.
Well, they set a precedent. They need to be out. If the head of your snake is gone, for Florida State, it happened.
I do not agree with
I don't agree with
Now,
it.
that was a 4-team field, though. This is a 12-team field. You got to find room for an 11-1 Ole Miss, even if Lane doesn't end up going.
I understand that, and I don't agree with it either. But I'm just saying, like, stranger things have happened, and your 14 point is well taken. But if you've got a team that wins next week, has all the resume to make it in, maybe they make it in by, barely. But they have to drop, considering you don't have the head of the snake.
If that's the case.
They would have to lose the ball game. Where they are right now, they're firmly in the field. So I don't see them, outside of losing, falling out. But, don't give anybody – that's the message to everybody this weekend. It's in the playoff line. Don't give anybody a reason on that committee to screw things up.
No doubt about it. Absolutely. Yeah, if there's going to be a drop at all because of that, it's maybe they don't end up hosting a playoff game. But you also – that's something they – would love to have home playoff game there.
Could you imagine that environment in Oxford, man?
Right?
That's what 4 years in the making. This is the culmination of a lot of work.
Yep. No question about it. All right, when all the games are over, we've got you for SEC football final. Of course, our nightcap again, LSU, Western Kentucky in Baton Rouge. Final, though, when it's all over. 60 minutes to get you through a big, busy SEC Saturday.
Halftime at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's Auburn in front, 35-17 over Mercer, doing it on the shoulders and more specifically with the legs of Deuce Knight. First game as a starter for the Auburn Tigers. It's been a show. This is the SEC on ESPN, Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama. Getting set for the start of the second half between the Auburn Tigers and the Mercer Bears, the SoCon champions. 35-17 our halftime score. If it looks a little lopsided, that happened very late in the second quarter. Mercer very much in this game until the last couple of minutes. Glad to be with you this afternoon alongside Charles Arbuckle, Richard Cross. There was a lot of anticipation coming into this game from Auburn fans for the starting debut of Deuce Knight. He'd only played in one game very sparingly early in the year. I would say they're pleased after seeing 2 quarters of him.
If they're not pleased, I'm pleased, and I'm sure DJ Durkin and his staff are. He has really done a nice job of making plays and doing things to give this Auburn team and fans excitement.
Take a look at some of what happened in the first night. It was with his feet early. This was the first play from scrimmage. Gets to the outside, 75 yards. A couple of guys had angles. He just ran past them. Yeah, but we saw more of that throughout the first half.
And, Richard, it's interesting you say that because it doesn't look like he's moving fast, and then all of a sudden the yards are just being churned up. And he has not only done it with his legs, beautiful throw to Cam Coleman, who made an outstanding catch, which we continue to talk about. But I think the one thing, even when he was running the ball, it wasn't so much that he was just looking to take off and run. He was looking to throw the ball down the field.
Some of the numbers from the first half, you see the rushing yardage for Auburn, 218. 176 of that belongs, or excuse me, 173 of that belongs to Deuce Knight. Mercer was very much in this football game. In fact, they led it 14-7. It was 21-17. And then you had those late 2 scores by Auburn. The one at the end coming off the turnover.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, making sure you protect the football. And in that instant, we saw that happen right away, and it wasn't a good ending for Mercer. It started well, but you got to continue to play some good football and protect the football against this Auburn Tigers team.
We are on a little bit of a record watch right now. Deuce Knight with those 173 rushing yards in the first half. Single game rushing record for a quarterback in Auburn history. You got to go all the way back to 1946 when Travis Tidwell went for 222. So we'll see. Mercer won the toss to start the game. They deferred to the second half, and so Braden Atkinson and the Mercer offense will come out on the field. One of the things that we talked about with the Mercer coaching staff, you've got the FCS playoffs coming up. Ultimately, that is what matters for this team. They wanted this opportunity. They were excited for it. They wanted to play well. They wanted to play clean. At what point, if you're Mike Jacobs, do you look and go, all right, this one has gotten a little out of hand. We have to keep the big picture in mind, especially as it pertains to our starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about that, and it'll be interesting to see if they go to the backup at some point, DJ Smith, in this ball game. But right now, I think they're going to come out and really try to attack.
C.J. Miller on the ground on first down. Amaris Williams brings him down.
But your point is very well taken, because this team has gotten themselves in a position. They don't want to leave this game with anyone injured. They want to have help, but also put themselves in a position to make that FCS playoff run. So it's a balancing act that they have to do, but I like what they've done so far to try to attack this Auburn team.
Atkinson with time, throws over the middle. That is complete to Braden Smith, the junior from Macon, Georgia. 8 or 9 on the play.
He's been a key weapon for him today. Whenever he needs a play, he's kind of been able to find him. He and Dabbs.
Mercer in the first half, 6 of 9 on third down. Auburn actually able to get them off the field on a couple of third downs late in the half after a 5 for 5 and 6 for 7 start. Third down here, Atkinson rolling to his left. Got to get those shoulders turned. He dumps it off complete. Patient throw there from Atkinson. He gets it to Kendall Harris for the first down.
Also got to give a lot of credit to Gavin Marks, who was a freshman that started, made the move with Braden Atkinson when he became the starter. Big 60 in the middle of your screen. You're not going to see him there, but he's had a really good game, I think, today. Nice job, Kendall Harris, of catching the ball and turning and running.
So a true freshman center in Gavin Marks and a true freshman quarterback in Braden Atkinson, both from Rollsville High School. Miller on the carry, and there is nothing there. In fact, that's lost yardage. Loss of a couple on first down. The story for Gavin Marks is an incredible one. As a senior in high school, November of his senior year, so a year ago this month, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. He'd been losing some weight. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They discovered the cancer. He went into his treatment process, continued working out the entire time, snapped a long game started streak, over 40 games in his high school career. And then in April of 2025, just 5 months later, he was declared cancer-free. He was not able to enroll early at Mercer like Braden Atkinson was.
Yeah.
But he was constantly sending video of his workouts to the coaching staff at Mercer and said, hey, I'm coming, I'm coming. He got there in the summer, and just like Braden Atkinson, beginning with the Wofford game, he moved into the starting lineup and has been the anchor of an offensive line that's only given up 2 sacks all year.
I'm blown away. The tumor was the size of a grapefruit between his heart and lungs, and the chemo helped him, and he just battled through it. Unbelievable.
Third down play, flag comes in. This ball floated, and it's intercepted. Elijah Melendez comes up with the pick. That's his second of the year. He takes it all the way to the end zone for a touchdown, Auburn, but we got to check the flag.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where that flag is dropped, that it's offsides on the defense. But if not, you take that and take it all the way back.
Illegal formation.
It is going to stand. Elijah Melendez with an interception, returned 41 yards for a touchdown. It all started with the pressure from Zykevius Walker.
Walker just coming on. I mean, you talk about this front four. 91 here is just going to be so disruptive. No one gets to him, and that just starts a downhill spiral. And great job by Melendez. Almost getting caught. He almost got caught.
It was like he downshifted just a notch, headed into the end zone. His momentum able to carry him in.
Oh, man.
When scoring a non-offensive touchdown, going all the way back to 2013. Auburn has 31 wins. So 31-3 when they score a non-offensive touchdown. Right now, the Auburn Tigers are rolling. They're in front 42-17, early third quarter. .11:43 left in the third. It's Auburn in front, 42-17. 4 straight touchdowns for the Auburn Tigers. Just a week left in the regular season. You look at the chances, percentage chances from ESPN Analytics to make the SEC championship game. Bama and Georgia. Top of the list, Texas A&M at 52%. And Ole Miss still hanging on to a chance for an SEC championship game appearance as well. The most likely, ESPN Analytics going deep here, most likely matchups in the SEC championship game, Alabama, Georgia, followed shortly thereafter by Alabama, Texas A&M. Texas A&M makes it, it would be their first ever trip to the SEC championship game. Ole Miss also one of the teams that's never been to Atlanta.
Well, the Georgia fans have to be happy, and out of those 4, they're on 3 of them. So, and A&M is in 2 positions. And
it
Alabama.
is the SEC champion. I don't know if you've been or not, but it's one of the coolest events in sports. There's been so much energy, always a sold-out stadium. It's been in Atlanta since, what, 1994. The first 2 happened here in this state in Birmingham. Ty Dowdy blown up at the end of that play by Sylvester Smith. But there's this interesting conundrum right now with regard to going to the SEC championship game. You're playing an extra game, and you got the college football playoffs right around the corner 2 weeks later.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the more teams you add and the more opportunities you get to get in the college football playoffs, as much as the SEC loves the championship and everybody else and their fans, it becomes a law of diminishing returns.
Play is under review for targeting.
All right, this is significant. Not that it wouldn't have been significant in the first half, but we are into the second half of this football game. You have a review for possible targeting on an Auburn player. It's significant because if a targeting is called, not only would you have the removal from this game, but would miss the first half of next week's Iron Bowl. They are taking a look at that hit by Sylvester Smith, the sophomore from Munford, Alabama.
Is it the crown of the helmet? Did he lunge? And is the runner a defenseless player?
Forcible contact above the head or neck area. You've got helmet-to-helmet contact. See the head drop there. Will that be deemed crown of the helmet? That's probably the biggest question in this review.
Yeah. I really think it checks all the boxes on this one by the letter of the law.
Didn't have a launch
After
there.
review, personal foul, targeting, defense number 9, crown of the helmet. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Sylvester Smith is a starter at that star position.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that hybrid spot between a secondary player and a linebacker, and moves around. You want that guy to be a run stopper. You want him to work in coverage. And that is now significant because he will miss the first half of the game against Alabama right here at Jordan-Hare Stadium next Saturday night.
The 2 most difficult things in college football for all fans and even us, targeting is a catch.
Also gives Mercer a first down. That run out close to midfield. That is Doty carrying it again.
And you bring up a really good point. That first half, you missed that guy that you got to have in that star position.
And now Zykevius Walker, the defensive tackle for Auburn, a little slow getting up. Good to see him coming off on his own power.
He was one that made the real key play to knock the ball in the air for the pick 6.
Another guy that we saw come slowly off the field a couple of times in the first half, Keldrick Falk. So you're talking a couple of defensive linemen banged up, and now without your star for the first half next week, and Sylvester Smith.
The other thing, though, Richard, we talked a lot with DJ Durkin about guys not just mailing it in. This is 2 weeks in a row we've seen teams with Oklahoma State last week, and now this week we see an Auburn team that they're playing hard. You can't question their effort.
Yeah, you and I were in Stillwater last week. It's an Oklahoma State team that it feels like it's had an interim head coach for months, and they have since early in the season. And it's a couple of weeks now with DJ Durkin in charge of this this Auburn team, and we asked him about buy-in and keeping guys, because a lot of mystery. Who's the next coach going to be? You know that there are, I think pre-portaling is what we call it now. There are a lot of conversations about where guys are going to be. You've got agents reaching out, contacting players, and asked DJ Durkin how he'd address that. And he said, look, we talk about it very openly. Yeah. He said, one of the things we've said is we understand that college football is in a different era. It's a one-year commitment. He said, but you are committed to play football for the Auburn Tigers and are being compensated for that this year. And so that's your responsibility. And part of the reason they've gotten that buy-in
Yeah, and I think the defense for the whole season, we've seen them play pretty good football, right? I mean, you look at that stretch we talked about where Oklahoma lost, A&M lost, Georgia, Missouri. Those
all
games,
top 10 teams, by the way.
all top 10 teams. But look, and we knew, going into the season, you knew that was a murderer's row, but they weren't blown out in any of those ball games.
7-point loss, 6-point loss, 10-point loss, 6-point loss in that stretch. There's a sack brought down. Atkinson dropped by Chris Murray, the senior from Wichita Falls, Texas. Sam Houston transfer, and he blew that one up.
Yeah, TCU before that, but man, Murray came like a freight train. Watch Bree just get through the hole and violent hands and gets to the quarterback quickly.
First sack of the game for Auburn, just the third sack allowed by this Mercer offensive line all season long.
You can't have miscommunications like that, but they've done it, like you said, only 2 on the year, which is an incredible feat. Now 3.
Atkinson taking a shot down the middle of the field. He's got a man, just overthrows him off the hand of Kendall Harris.
Atkinson can throw the football.
It was really good ball placement because there were 3 blue jerseys kind of converging on a spot.
Kendall Harris just right outside of his hands. He's a key playmaker for him, but put the ball where his guy could be the only one to make the play. And to your point, look at those 3 defenders converging, but nobody has a chance other than Atkinson.
Randall Atkinson, a guy with 5 school records, 2 of them in single games and 3 for a season. He's got single game records for passing yards, passing game touchdowns, and then single season records for completions, yards, and touchdowns. It has been a remarkable freshman campaign for Braden Atkinson.
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And you talked about it, not just FCS, but FBS things that he's also playing a role in with what he's been able to do this year.
Yeah, no quarterback in the country, FBS or FCS, has thrown for more yards than Braden Atkinson. And we asked Mike Jacobs, the realities of college football. You put up numbers like this, there are guys that are going to want your quarterback.
Exactly.
He said they try to have really honest conversations.
The previous play was an incomplete pass. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 8:31. Thank you.
All right, so we get 6 seconds back there from the game clock operator. Now we'll be ready for the punt. Now, Mike Jacobs said honest conversations. We do everything that we can. Got an NIL program where they take care of their players as best they can. Try to do some revenue sharing and create an opportunity where guys have a chance to play and showcase their skills. 42-17 our score. We'll take a timeout with 8:24 remaining on a beautiful November afternoon at Auburn. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. A Saturday afternoon on the Plains, the loveliest village on the Plains, Jordan-Hare Stadium, where the Auburn Tigers have a 42-17 lead over Mercer and now have their first offensive possession of the second half. Deuce Knight, the first Auburn freshman ever with 4 rushing touchdowns in a ball game. He's done it in 30 minutes. 6 carries, 173 yards. Also threw for a touchdown in the first half.
A guy that has been putting on some nice performances on the practice field, now getting a chance to do it in real game action.
Knight flush to the outside, wants to take a shot down the field. He's got a receiver open. That's Malcolm Simmons trying to run away from defenders to the 20. A foot race to the pylon. Touchdown! 91 yards. The defender fell down, and Simmons did the rest.
K.J. Thomas got lost in space, so to speak, and Deuce Knight showed you the ability with the arm. I mean, that was an incredible opportunity for the young man. We've seen it with his legs, and he's had some nice throws, but Simmons, a walking yak kind of guy, yards after catch.
And Deuce Knight now up to 384 yards of total offense in this ball game.
K.J. Thomas loses where he is right there. That's all Simmons needed, and Knight gone to the house.
Extra point from Alex McPherson is good. It's been a tough journey for Alex McPherson, an outstanding kicker. Drills it through the uprights, and a 91-yard touchdown pass to Simmons.
Number 13 for Mercer is now 79.
It's a look at what the bracket would be today based on the most recent college football playoff top 25 rankings. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Georgia, the top 4 seeds home games in Eugene, Oxford, Norman, and Lubbock for those first-round games. Obviously, a couple more weeks of playoff rankings to be released. What a college football season it has been. There have been storylines on top of storylines. Chances for teams currently to make the college football playoff from the SEC. A&M, a virtual lock. Same thing for Georgia. Ole Miss, 84%. They'll play Mississippi State in 6 days in the Egg Bowl. Alabama and Auburn with the Iron Bowl coming up. Alabama going to be one of those teams, if they can win against Auburn, that'll be in that 10-2 mix. And that's where it feels like the real debate is going to happen.
It's a good spot to be in, but it's also a spot you don't know if you're in.
Doty on the fly sweep. Good pursuit that time by Xavier Atkins.
We talked a lot about him yesterday. Yeah, asking DJ Durkin, who is also the linebacker position coach and the defensive coordinator. He just couldn't rave enough about how this guy runs to the ball. Really good player. You could just tell he had a lot of respect for his game.
81 tackles now on the year for Atkins. 66 of those have come in the 7 SEC games in which he has played. Atkinson over the middle, and that's incomplete, and still played the price. Sajante Dabbs. This Auburn defense starting to fly around a little bit.
They are. Caleb Harris with the stick there. I always used to play in the backyard and Thanksgiving with my uncles. And might as well catch the ball because you're going to take a shot.
Remember, this game was 21-17 with just a couple of minutes left in the second quarter. Really good start in this game offensively for Mercer. Atkinson to the air, and that's complete for a first down. Went back to Dabbs, and Dabbs able to avoid the hit and haul it in this time.
I really think, though, for Mercer, the speed of this game only helps them as they go into their next phase. If they're fortunate enough to have a bye week, they can clean up some things, but it gives them a chance to see if they're going to get deep into that FCS run.
And Mercer will learn tomorrow its FCS playoff fate.
Yes.
Selection show at noon Eastern tomorrow on ESPNU. Pressure up the middle. Atkinson able to get ready for it. Looked like they were trying to set up a screen there to Doty.
Atkins with another.
So 2014 bracket, you have the top 16 that are seeded. The top 8 teams in the bracket receive a first-round bye. 11 automatic bids for conference champions and 13 at-large bids. And the first round begins next Saturday. So it's the top 8 that get the first-round bye. The top 4 are guaranteed to be at home through the quarterfinals. The top 2 seeds guaranteed not to have to leave home through the semifinals.
And this is what I'll say. If you haven't had a chance to watch the FCS playoffs, I implore you to do that. I know there's a lot of fans that just look at their team and get enamored, but I've had the good fortune, as you have, to call those games and get a chance to go to Fargo, North Dakota, Montana, and many other places around the country, even in the SEC or Big Ten footprint. And I am just blown away by how well those guys play and the intensity that they take to get to that championship game.
3rd and 7 here. You saw Doty kind of limp off the field. Another big hit leading to an incomplete pass. Kayan Lee laying the wood there.
You said it best. I mean, I think these guys finally woke up and they're starting to bring it now. Ball touches them and it doesn't stay with him.
It was Adonis McDaniel that couldn't hold on. He's had a big game. McDaniel, 3 catches today. They targeted him on a couple of balls, especially deep balls, just beyond his reach. John McConnell looking to boom one here and try and pin Auburn deep. It's a high spiral. Fair catch called for at the 10. They'll mark it at the 9-yard line. See if the Deuce Night show continues for Auburn. Looks like it's not, as Jackson Arnold going to come into the ball game at quarterback. This Auburn offense in their last 6 quarters has put 87 points on the board.
This is a different offense now.
So Jackson Arnold came in for 1 play, a 3rd down play in the first half. He's a junior from Denton, Texas, started his career at Oklahoma. Entered this season on the Maxwell watch list. He's completed 63%. Jeremiah Cobb on the carry. Caleb Hutchinson with the tackle. Cobb's got 9 carries for, 9 carries for 25 yards today for Cobb. Broken tackle and a run after the catch there for Cam Coleman. 3rd catch of the game. He's got a touchdown grab.
Jackson Arnold is picking up where Deuce Knight left off. This offense again with a little bit of tempo and getting him comfortable in that setting.
Gain of 19 on that pass play. Arnold looking to escape, and he is brought down. That's the first sack of the ball game for the Mercer defense. Hicks able to get there. Dan Hicks, his 6th sack of the season.
Really nice job by Hicks. They don't always bring a lot of pressure. Usually with 4 down, and it's either Hicks, Zock, Swain, or McGinnis. But those guys, Justin Gilbert sometimes plays a role, but that's where they've really hung their hat this season. 39 sacks on the season, 40 now for Mercer.
Snap a little off the mark. Arnold was able to corral it, get the handoff there. Tommy Bliss on the tackle with Cobb.
That's the other
Good 2nd down run there.
Excuse me. That's the other thing that Auburn's done a much better job of, protecting the quarterback, not allowing sacks. They had 39 given up before today's ball game.
Jeremiah Cobb came into this game 96 yards short of 1,000 for his career. Auburn has had 30 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Cobb can get there. He'll have his name on that list as well. Arnold able to dump it off to Cobb out of the backfield. Pick up the 1st down and get Auburn out close to midfield.
Really nice job by Arnold of improvising. He's finding Cobb and giving him a chance to make a play with that.
This pass a little high, intended for Malcolm Simmons.
Watching this team, it just looks like there's a different rhythm to this offense. Like it's just, guys are understanding where they need to be. The RPO game is really opening them up, and probably was there all season. It wasn't clicking the way it is now.
Cobb releases out of the backfield. Arnold with plenty of time. He'll throw it, and it's incomplete. Cam Coleman, a rare drop.
Yeah,
maybe a little off the mark, but he had 2 paws on it.
I had to double take. I was like, okay, Coleman, I don't see him dropping a lot of them. And that was one that hits him in the hands, and usually he comes away with it. But you know what? Right when it got to his hands, I think his eyes went away from it. And that just gets you back to lock in and say, okay, I need to watch it all the way in. Sometimes you are so good with your hands, you don't think you need to look and see it all the way in, Richard. No comment.
No, I was just thinking about some of the spectacular catches that Cam Coleman has made. This one goes to Eric Singleton, and he'll get it out to midfield, and will bring up a 4th down for Auburn. We'll see if they keep the offense on the field or elect to punt it away.
Yeah, I think they're going to punt this one off. The defense has played so well.
You think about when a team has an in-season coaching change, it creates chaos all over the place, and whoever the interim head coach is, you kind of focus on that person and their job, but you look at the rest of the staff,
yeah,
and what they have to do within their position group rooms. You probably have to have some difficult conversations and some honest conversations to go along with that to try to keep a team together and playing hard.
Yeah, I always talk about crisis management, and I think coaching changes focus on that crisis management. You got to have guys that really understand it and know how to say, hey, I'm going to have some critical, hard conversations with you. You may not like what I'm going to tell you, but you need to hear what I'm going to tell you. And that's what you feel like the staff has been able to do. He seems to be that kind of guy in DJ Durkin. And just his upbringing in the coaching profession has allowed him to just be comfortable there. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's why this team has played much better here of late.
Talked a fair amount about Derek Nix earlier in the game and the job that he's doing with the offense, is calling the plays, offensive coordinator. You've also got Kent Austin, who has had to work with those quarterbacks. Obviously, he's been working with Deuce Knight throughout the course of the season. And kind of look at the QB numbers over these last two games. Auburn comes up short against Vanderbilt, but put 38 points on the board, and Ashton Daniels with over 400 yards of total offense. And then you get this starting debut for Deuce Knight.
It gives you a lot of confidence and hope that now you have a couple of guys that you can feel like can really help you, especially against in that Iron Bowl game, which all bets are off when you have rivalry games like that.
Especially when it's played in this building. If you go back kind of through the history of the Iron Bowl, at least the recent history in this game, as you get a look there at Derek Nix, the offensive coordinator, studying that iPad in between drives. When you look at the recent, going back to the mid-2010s, there have been some lopsided scores in Tuscaloosa, but there have been some wild games with a bunch of close finishes here at Jordan-Hare Stadium, including Auburn with their fair share of success. Atkinson dumps it off last second. That's Micah Bell. Let's go back to 2017. You had Auburn here on the Plains with a win. They got the win in 2019 as well. In overtime, Alabama gets the win 4 overtimes in 2021. And then a field goal win for Alabama in 2023. Alabama and Auburn will be next Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. First night game, Iron Bowl. First Iron Bowl under the lights, where it starts under the lights since 2014.
Got to give these fans and the Alabama fans a chance to get ready for it. Whoa.
A dangerous run forward by Malcolm Simmons, but he's able to catch it and give Auburn really good field position. As Deuce Knight now comes back onto the field for Auburn after Jackson Arnold got a series.
That was really, I thought Simmons was going to really take a shot the way he was coming up the field. Fortunately for him, he didn't do that, but he's a little bit nicked up.
211 through the air, 173 on the ground, 2 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns today for Deuce Knight.
I'd say that's a pretty good start.
Hard to draw it up a whole lot better. Coleman is the motion man. Cobb on the ground, a good penetration that time for the defensive front. Andrew Zock and Isaiah Prince teaming up on the tackle there.
Good job of just keeping contained and fighting off blocks to get to Cobb, who is, like you said, almost at that 1,000-yard mark.
Now the officials get a break as we go to the end of the third quarter. In terms of flipping the field, they're only going to have to move the ball about 3 yards. 49-17, Auburn leading it over Mercer as we go to the final 15 minutes on the Plains. He was playing high school football a year ago right now. Today on a much bigger stage, Deuce Knight has been a star. 173 rushing yards, 211 passing yards, 6 total touchdowns.
When you're responsible for 6 touchdowns and the first one comes on your first play, you got to feel good about that. Family here, the Auburn faithful, got to love doing it in Jordan Hare.
First offensive snap of the game went 75 yards to the house. Deuce Knight kind of scanned the field, stepped up in the pocket, got flushed to the outside, and then he ran away from everybody. Stands in, and he throws a bullet to Cam Coleman.
I don't know
Donovan Watkins thought he had a chance at an interception there, and that ball went by him in the blink of an eye.
I don't know how Donovan Watkins didn't get this interception. Look at 4, just totally missed it. But that again shows you this guy has an arm, and Cam Coleman's still able to corral that one in.
Another one to Cam Coleman over the middle of the field, down to the 25-yard line. Ask DJ Durkin, in the time that he's been watching him from when Deuce Knight got on campus back in January as an early enrollee to now, kind of what he's seen. And said, you know, the progression's been fun to watch, but from day one, there have been plays that kind of left you with your jaw dropped a little bit.
Yeah. And he said he's hard to rattle. When you hear that about a young quarterback, we've seen that with Braden Atkinson, and knowing his progression for the whole year, but to not be able to see Deuce Knight, other than in that short stint with Ball State, you didn't know, because they saw it on the practice field every single day, and that they were blown away by some of the things he could do consistently throughout the year.
Knight surveying the field, nothing there. Is he going to take off again? Yes, trying to get to the outside, and he's dragged down by Drew Clare, maybe the best tackler on the team for Mercer.
They finally were able to get to him.
Knight limping a little bit as he gets up there.
Yeah. The best thing for these receivers now is that with a guy like that can run, you're going to see them blocking so much harder down the field when he decides to take off.
Taylor Bryan and George Nunnally, they work at the Auburn Media Relations Department. They're going to have some work to do after this one in terms of updating some records and some record books. Deuce Knight has tied the school record with those 6 touchdowns that he's responsible for as he's sacked there. Isaac Prince, looked like he was shot out of a cannon, gets his 3rd sack of the season.
Well, and they come after him on the left side of the line of scrimmage, and and we're just able to get to him, and he had no he couldn't account for it.
3 players now in Auburn history have been responsible for 6 touchdowns in a ball game. Deuce Knight, one of those today. The other 2, Cam Newton in the 2010 SEC championship game against South Carolina, and Carnell Cadillac Williams against Mississippi State back in 2003. Long field goal on the way, and good for Alex McPherson. 47-yard field goal for Alex McPherson, ties his season long. It's 52-17.
79.
Alex McPherson, the junior from Fort Payne, Alabama, with a 47-yard field goal to make it 52-17. 47 yards tied his season high. You see some gratitude there from Alex McPherson. If you happen to not be familiar with his story, he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, lost a ton of weight at the kind of the height of dealing with that issue. He was all the way down to 110 pounds. He is now up to 144, which feels like a world ago from where he was. He has to do some things that are pretty unique on game day to be able to continue to play this game. Had a chance to meet him yesterday, though, in the football facility, and what a delightful young man.
Yeah, it's always amazing how guys have to battle things, and you're happy for him. You're happy for him and his ability to fight through that.
Mercer going to make a change at quarterback. It's DJ Smith's turn, the senior from Greenwood, Mississippi. Played at Jones Junior College, Greenville Christian before that. He was the starter coming into the year. Started some games a season ago. And really thought coming into this year that DJ Smith was going to be the quarterback, and Atkinson just kind of emerged and continued to play so very well. But DJ Smith, a guy that's got some experience.
Well, he was dealing with the AC sprain, a joint in your shoulder that is just so difficult. Never really could heal that. And that allowed Braden Atkinson to come in and take the job, and it's been his since.
DJ Smith started in the no contest game against UC Davis and then in the loss against Presbyterian. And you mentioned that AC joint issue. He was dealing with that, trying to kind of play through it. They had an open date after the Wofford game. Or excuse me, after the Presbyterian game, before they played Wofford. And because the injury kind of limited in the number of reps, Atkinson continued to come on strong. And once he was handed the reins, he has not let go. But DJ Smith getting a chance here, facing a 3rd down and 7 with under 11 minutes to play. A hit from behind, the ball comes out. Auburn recovers the fumble. Good pressure that time by Auburn. They create the turnover. Jay Hardy came up with the fumble recovery.
Yeah. Chris Murray is the guy that got the sack strip. Yeah, Chris Murray did a heck of a job. Transfer out of Sam Houston State. Before that, TCU. Watch him come off this edge. Big number 3. Already giving you issues, and quarterback trying to step up. Not a good set by Atchison, and Murray with an outstanding job. Look at that. That's our defensive lineman. That's how you're taught to go get it and grab and pull him down.
Strip sack. That's 3 turnovers now for Mercer in the ball game. Ooh, this one nearly blown up behind the line. Auburn going a little bit deeper into its roster here in 4th quarter, late in this ball game.
Zock still playing like a possessed guy. Andrew Zock was the first one on the scene, but couldn't get the tackle.
It was Duke Smith on the carry that time for Auburn.
Jamal Brown, the defensive coordinator, had some ties with DJ Durkin, actually played with him. Played for him, excuse me. And
recruited by him.
Yeah, talked a lot. Recruited by him, knows him, and just couldn't say enough about him. But his defense is still playing hard, fast.
To the air, that one complete over toward the Mercer sideline. Justin Jones with the catch and run. Jamal Brown told us a pretty incredible story about when he was at Bowling Green. So they were finishing up summer workouts, and DJ Durkin and his wife were hosting their position group, the defense, at their house for kind of a cookout. Everybody hang out, relax a little bit. Jamal Brown told us that that was the most difficult workout that they had had in the summer leading toward the start of camp.
I'm laughing because I've been there, but go ahead.
And so they get to the house, and you know they've got burgers and whatever else for cookout food, and Jamal Brown ate a little. And then he went to calling Ralph.
Yeah,
Said he tried to get to the restroom. It was like in the hallway of their house. He was so embarrassed. Threw up right there in the entryway to the house and said DJ Durkin's wife treated him like a son. She got me to the bedroom upstairs, said he got a little something to drink, took a 2-hour nap, and said he will always remember the way they treated him in recruiting and as a young player, and is trying to emulate that in the way he treats players.
It just makes you think, you know, when you hit the point where you've given all you could in the workout, and then you're going to hang out with your team, and you have nothing left. And it just, I can only imagine him. You know, I can just see the bathroom feeling like it was like 2 miles away for him.
Just get me to that door, get me to the door, and he just can't hold it anymore.
Oh, man.
All right, so McPherson this time going to try from 49. This would be a season long for Alex McPherson. He hits it well. Is it online? Yes, a new season high for a man who in high school kicked a 61-yarder, set a state record in the state of Alabama with a 61-yard field goal. He bangs that one home for 49.
Bigger than ever, we back.
I get chills when we call one of these games.
Legends are made in that building right there. We on a whole nother level. Bigger than ever, we back. SEC champions.
Weeks from today, the SEC championship game in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Auburn leading at 55-17. The Auburn Tigers 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. They're going to get one of them today. Can they pull off a victory next week in the game that people in this state talk about for about 380 days out of the year?
Yeah, I was going to say, might as well 400 days out of the year.
Yeah, something like that. The Iron Bowl next Saturday night here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We looked earlier at the recent Iron Bowl results for games that have been played here at Auburn, and a couple of Auburn wins, a couple of close losses, including 1 and 4 overtimes.
I will have an eye out for that one next week.
When you think about the recipe, I mean, this Auburn defense, a little banged up, but for most of the season, they've been so very good.
Yeah.
You saw Ashton Daniels and what he was able to do with over 400 yards of total offense a couple of weeks ago against Vanderbilt.
That's a Vandy team that has played pretty good defense throughout the year. They exposed them a little bit, forced them to do some things they didn't want to do.
DJ Smith back in. It's a handoff to Micah Bell.
I think the big thing with Mercer, them getting an opportunity to now get in position for their run.
Other than the fact that it's a rivalry game and that it's here at Jordan-Hare, what have you seen from Auburn that makes you think they've got more than just a puncher's chance in that game against Alabama next week?
Well, 9 or 12, whoever each one of the quarterbacks right away makes me think of that first and foremost. But I think really, if this is the defense that you're going to see, they've been attacking. They really cleaned up some things, and I think that's what you expect out of them. Their ability not to let guys get on the edge like that, I think that's going to play a key, critical role for them.
Even though Ashton Daniels is going to start that game and he's going to be the quarterback, you foresee a package perhaps for Deuce Knight based on what we saw today, what he can do with his legs?
You know what it does? Alabama has to now get ready for that. Yeah, I mean, look.
The week of preparation got just a little longer.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because they did what I did. They went to Ball State and saw that. Now you see this today. You got to really start thinking, how can they use him in certain situations if they need to? 3rd and 5.
Smith. That was incomplete, trying to get it that time to Braden Smith. Couldn't haul it in, and Anquan Fagans was there. Break it up.
And I'm not with rose-colored glasses. I know this Ty Simpson Alabama team is really, really good. But when you got to go on the road and you got to play a rivalry game, you got to go to a place that, you know, hey, look, anything can happen. And I think Auburn has to take that approach if they want to try to get bowl eligible and then also upset, you know, your state neighbor.
Bryce Kane is the return man for Auburn as John McConnell will punt it away. Good hang time on this one for McConnell. It takes a little bit of a Mercer roll. 55-17. We are inside 7 minutes to play on the Plains. 2019 Iron Bowl. Mac Jones found Jalen Waddle early in the fourth quarter on a 28-yard pass to give Alabama a 45-40 lead. Setting the stage for Sean Shivers. Go-ahead score on an 11-play drive. It took 5.5 minutes. Mac Jones got the Tide in position to try a field goal to tie it and send it to overtime, but doink! Auburn a winner, 48-45. November 30th, 2019. Justin Jones on the carry. You know, it's never too early to start a scouting report. I'm sure Kalen DeBoer and company are going to be thrilled to get this gentleman's thoughts on what he saw today. Or maybe just a good husband that was a good sport.
Yeah. He's sitting way up there. Section 103, kind of away.
I see no binoculars. I see no video camera. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Said, I'm going to wear my colors. I don't care. A really good high school game last night, too. Everybody was buzzing about the Opelika and Auburn High School matchup.
Tough ticket last night for Auburn and Opelika, playing for a chance to go to the state championship game. Looked at this earlier. Some of the recent games in this series that have been played in Jordan-Hare. A couple of wins for Auburn. Saw the highlights from the 19 game. Double overtime win for Alabama in 2021, and then a 3-point win for Alabama in that 2023 game. Alvin Henderson in the backfield now for Auburn. Jackson Arnold going to keep it. He gets to the outside, and Jackson Arnold with a big play. Inside the 30, cutting back, trying to get to the end zone, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown, Jackson Arnold, a 56-yard run for the quarterback.
Hey, Deuce, I see you, man. Let me go get some of that. Really?
8th rushing touchdown of the season for Jackson Arnold.
He gets outside, good blocking there, everybody locked up, and then Jackson Arnold with a little shifty cut across the field. And look, again, as I say, receivers have to help block, and they were really working to get down the field to help him score.
547 yards of total offense today for Auburn, 277 of that on the ground. Now 62-17, 5:09 remaining. Quick drive there, minute 35, 3 plays, 67 yards, and the score for the Tigers.
Well, that was one where you got a team that's still fighting, but just got some guys that are finally woken up and say, hey, look, let's go. And DJ Durkin has to be happy with how his team finished. They didn't start well, but they finished the game.
You look at Jackson Arnold and you think about how heralded he was coming out of high school. He goes to Oklahoma, has some success, but maybe not as much as he would like. Transfers, hoping for a fresh start at Auburn. It doesn't work out the way that he would have envisioned, but there's no question there's some talent there with Jackson Arnold, and see the wheels there in the open field.
You saw it at certain points of the year. You know, he would make plays, and even when he was at Oklahoma, but it just hadn't come together all the way you would have thought.
Best game of the year for Jackson Arnold was that road loss against Oklahoma. Went back to the place that he started his career. He was 21 of 32 for 220 yards, couple of touchdowns. The undoing of that game really was in the fourth quarter. He ended up being sacked 9 times.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I think he's from the same high school as Eli Stowers, if memory serves me correct.
Geyer High School in Denton, Texas.
One of those schools up in the North
Metroplex,
Texas area.
Kind of a hotbed of football talent.
Yes, it has been.
Third quarterback of the game now going to be used for Mercer. It's J.P. Pickles, redshirt freshman from Tallahassee and a transfer from UTEP. Gets an opportunity here late in the ball game. Micah Bell. Some of those running lanes that were there early have just not been there in the second half
And you ask, why do I think that? Because I think Auburn, that's going to be a really critical piece for them too. If you're going to stop Ty Simpson, you've got to stop the run game for Alabama and make them left-handed or one-dimensional or whatever you want to call it, so you can really get after Ty Simpson and force him into some bad decisions like you saw today.
Pickles has played a fair amount this year. He's got 24 rushes for 77 yards. Hands it off here. That's Braden Smith trying to get to the outside. He'll go out of bounds right at the 35-yard line. Going to be enough for a Mercer first down. Picked up 9 there.
But again, as we keep talking about Mercer, they're looking to the bigger prize for them now that it's the FCS playoff run that they're getting ready to go on. Once we'll find out tomorrow where they'll be seated and will they have a bye or will they have to play the first round.
Depending on what part of the country you're in, there, I suppose, is a debate as to whether or not the Iron Bowl or Ohio State-Michigan is the biggest and best rivalry in college football. Folks in this part of the country don't want to have that argument. Tyrell Cord with a good run into Auburn territory. You played in rivalry game in college. You were All-American tight end at UCLA with Southern Cal as your big rival. What is this next week like in terms of preparation leading up to that game?
It's one of those things where, you know, we were so close in proximity, 12 miles. So we saw those guys all year. Some we liked, some we didn't. But, you know, but it was one of those situations. But that week, you had no interaction with the Trojans. You were really ready to go. And there was always going to be something that happened leading up to the game where it was always little paper cuts. And then when you got a chance to play them, you wanted to kick their butt. I'll tell you, they wanted to kick ours.
Carlos Benjamin dropped for a loss there.
You always had the legendary guys. And I think about it now, Ken Easley wasn't around when I saw him at different functions, but guys like Ken Easley or Jerry Robinson or whoever would come back and tell you what they felt about the Trojans when you were getting ready to play them.
Coleman Granberry had the tackle on that last play. 2nd and 13 here for Mercer. 2.5 minutes to play.
I will say, you know, our condolences to the Easley family. He's one of the great Bruins of all time. Was a heck of a NFL player. Ken Easley passed just recently, and it just makes you think about how precious life is.
Coming up on the 2-minute timeout, Mercer and Auburn. This was a 21-17 game. But Auburn made it a no contest late, up 62-17 with Here's this week's featured SEC Network men's basketball matchup. Tennessee Tech at number 12, Kentucky. Denzel Aberdeen and the Wildcats. Had to get back at it. Rupp Arena on Wednesday night. A little Thanksgiving Eve basketball game. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. You can also watch it on the all-new ESPN app. Third down for Mercer with 2 minutes to play. Quarterback going to keep it. That's J.P. Pickles. Down to the 38-yard line. We'll bring up a fourth down. And probably the Mercer offense will stay on the field here. Mercer tomorrow will find out its postseason fate. Ranked 6th in the most recent FCS poll. I think expecting to be one of those top 8 seeds, which would give them a first-round bye and a guaranteed second-round home game. FCS playoff selection show tomorrow at noon Eastern on ESPNU. Don't think there's a lot of suspense in who the number 1 seed is going to be. It feels like the North Dakota State Bison will be hearing their name called there. Tyrell Cord with the catch for a first down, driven out of bounds into the Auburn bench.
Yeah, I'd be highly shocked if they weren't the number 1 seed. But I will say this Mercer team, and then talking to their group and Mike Jacobs, what they've done to try to build for the FCS playoffs, and it's starting to show for them this year.
Third straight FCS playoff coming for Mercer. Show you the results for the last couple of years here in just a moment. Pickles with some room to the outside, a little RPO look, dumps it off. On the catch is Braden Smith, and he's dropped right around the line of scrimmage. Inside a minute to play. Mike Jacobs' team last year in the playoffs won their first round game against Rhode Island and then lost to North Dakota State in the quarterfinals. Year before that, Coach Cronick was there. He's now the offensive coordinator at Navy. Got a first round win followed by second round loss at South Dakota State. One of the things that Mercer wanted to do, was hoping to do, was come out of this game healthy. There may be some bumps and bruises, but certainly did not appear to be anything major.
And to your point, seeing where they're seated, if they get that bye, that gives them a chance to clean up things, but also get guys healthy as well.
Final seconds will tick off the clock. Looks like Mercer might want to run one more play as the clock winds down. They just get it off. Pickles going to take a shot toward the end zone. It goes out of bounds. That's incomplete, and that's how this one will end at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn moves to 5-6 on the year. They will now turn their attention to the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Iron Bowl here on the Plains next Saturday night, a 6:30 local kickoff on a game that'll be televised on ABC, and Auburn a win away from bowl eligibility.
Hey, that's all they wanted to do. They talked about just finishing the year strong, finishing up, and now Deuce Knight is in position, so you got to feel good about some of the things you saw out of this. Ashton Daniels comes back. I think they've given themselves every possible opportunity, Richard.
Really good start in this game for Mercer. I'm assuming that that's what Mike Jacobs and his staff will take away. Hey, this is where you were over the course of a long game, more scholarships, more depth. It just kind of happened. They'll also kind of point to maybe giving it away right there before the half a little bit.
I agree with you, and I think also what you can do is say this is what's going to help us get ready, because when you play a team like North Dakota State, if you're fortunate enough to get there, they're not going to be Auburn, but they're going to have some guys that are going to challenge you like an Auburn would, so you want to be in that position as well.
Deuce Knight in his first start as the quarterback for the Auburn Tigers. Well, he's going to have a game that he will remember for a long time. 162 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, a couple of passing touchdowns as well, as he threw for 239. Auburn with the win, 62-17 over the Mercer Bears. For our entire SEC Network crew, my partner Charles Arbuckle, I'm Richard Cross. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Final score from the Plains, Auburn wins it big, 62-17.